Hello, welcome to 2022 and Ascending Community of Light channel. This is Rena and Cynthia in Rena and Cynthia Discuss. And we're so glad that you're here. We are excited to continue with our discussions of very important topics. And we've got a doozy for you today, don't we, Cynthia?
We do. I'm excited about today's topic. So Rena and I have been talking about 2022 and what it means for us and for the planet. And we've decided that this first video for the year, we would talk about 2022 as the year of revealing greater truths. So that's sort of our big header. And
Yeah.
What do we mean by greater truths?
What do we mean by that? Yeah.
Well,
There's just been so many things. So, right, we get online, we hear things, and we hear one thing from one expert and something else from another expert, and it's very confusing. We're all very confused. And I
yes.
think that this whole process is really important for us, the two of us individually, but our audience and the collective to really start trying to figure out how to sort through everything we're hearing so that we can find what the truth is for us and then go for that. Don't you think?
Absolutely. It has been just the last 2 years have been really difficult for all of us. And we are trying to sort of find our way up and get some air. And I think that what you said about, the mainstream media and all of the alternative media and all the platforms, social media that we're on, we're all trying to desperately find out what is happening in our world.
What's really going on?
What's really going on?
Nothing makes sense.
Right. Everything is like upside down and inverted and twisted, and it's really hard. So greater truths for me, what that means is that truths that stand on their own, really the truths that are out there that maybe I haven't been aware of consciously and I haven't known about them. So for me, they weren't a truth yet because I didn't know about them. But there's greater reality and pictures of reality. We're going to, as we expand our consciousness, we're all growing and learning, right? And we have to go outside the box. How many times have we heard that?
Yeah, and I tell you what, there may be some people that are listening to this that kind of know what we're talking about, but I got to tell you that to the audience that Cynthia and I have been doing a lot of research. So things have come to us as truths that most people haven't even fathomed. So there is a lot, and I love what you just said about revealing greater truths. We need to expand ourselves and be willing to look outside of what our little norm is and our little box is of our little lives, and take a breath and go, what else is there? And actually ask that so that more can be revealed, because there's a lot out there to learn, isn't there?
There really is. And that brings me back to this idea. I was thinking about our video today, and I was walking around my house trying to think about how we could explain this. And the idea of the movie, The Matrix, came to mind. And I remember seeing that way back in the early 90s, I think. And it was so shocking and so disturbing. This idea that human beings have been under a control system for a really long time, really forever. We didn't know it, don't know it. And that there's some external forces, dark forces, negative forces that are out there controlling humanity. And they're doing it for their own benefit. And that was such a weird concept for me back in the early 90s. I just thought it was the wildest movie I had ever seen. I was just like, wow. Weren't you? Just blown
exactly.
away.
It's like, who was thinking? Like in the 90s, we were just all going along, living our lives, having our children, having our jobs, planning our vacations. And, who would think that there would be a worldwide pandemic happen, and all this upside down inverted stuff going on, and all these things with the what I want to call famous people, but the celebrities, and like there's so much out there. But back then, yeah, this was brand new. Now we know that this stuff really does go on.
Yeah, and the movie introduced this idea that I think is really essential to talk about, this idea of the red pill versus the blue pill. And so Neo, Keanu Reeves, who played the star role, he was asked did he want the blue pill or the red pill? And he's
Right.
like, well, what's the difference? And he was told that if you take the blue pill, everything will stay normal and everything will go along as usual. You won't learn anything particularly new. You'll keep doing what you've been told to do. You'll follow the system and you'll stay in that. And your consciousness won't grow or expand particularly either. But if you really wanted to know what was going on, he could take the red pill. And I remember that with the hands. Remember that the
Right.
red pill
Yeah.
was sitting here and the
Mhm.
blue pill. And so Neo said, well, I want the red pill. And the red pill was, I want to know what's really going on. And I'm ready for greater truths. And yeah, I want to know. It's time for me to know.
Yeah.
And so Rena and I took the red pill quite a while ago, didn't we, Rena?
We
And
did. I must say, I think I took little bites at a time.
I know it.
You
I
can't take it
know.
all. There's so much.
Yeah,
And
it's really
there's a
hard.
process, and I want to talk about this too. Just this process that because this is going to happen, like what we said in the beginning. This is what 2022 is going to be about, is about revealing these hidden truths. And I think everyone is going to have to go through, find a truth that they hear, and then they have a reaction to it. And
Yeah.
then what does that look like? It's going to upset their world, but how do we deal with that? Because there's more to come. Like I was saying, I took it in bite size, and there's more. There's still more that, of course, I haven't learned, and you haven't learned yet.
And the real
So
truth is
vast.
there's always going to be more. There's
Yes.
always, that's what evolution is about. It's what life is about. It's what experience is
Expansion of
all for.
consciousness is
Yeah,
about. Yes.
as we expand our consciousness. So the question remains for each person to answer that, which pill are you willing to take for 2022? And we think it's going to be a very powerful year, and a year that's going to reveal, like Rena just said, a lot of hidden truths. These are greater truths. They've been hidden from humanity for a very long time. And one example that I wanted to bring up was I began to look at, of course, researching COVID, finding out where it came from and all that we've been going through in the last 2 years. And I learned something that really was quite upsetting. And being a school teacher, I learned that the United States government, in order to promote this agenda of mandatory masks, social distancing, and now mandatory vaccines, that the Biden administration put out a plan called the Rescue America Plan, and that was started in March of 2021. And I found out, to my shock, that all public schools, including universities and colleges and vocational schools, were offered money, billions and billions of dollars. They were offered federal funding if they pushed this agenda. And it was so upsetting when I found that out, because as a teacher, I've always felt I worked out of the goodness of my heart, and that even though it was low pay, I was doing the right thing. And then to find out that all of these school boards and these administrators and teachers knew about this, that they were told, you're going to get a pay raise, our school's going to get a lot of money as long as you push this agenda. So Rena, that was really shocking for me. I
Yeah,
just
and
felt like that's one
I
of the,
wonder how many teachers really were told, because I know some teachers, and I don't think that they know anything about it.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
and I wonder if some of it just stopped at the school board,
Why not?
or exactly how. Yeah, it is very. You would think that if our world were really in dire straits, where there wasn't a, what is it, 99.7% chance of survival? Isn't that it?
99.99
Oh,
for everybody under
99.99.
60, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That if that weren't the case, that there really was something where we would walk outside and we saw people falling over, and we really did see with our own two eyes people dying of something on the street. You would think that we would not need to have financial incentive to want to keep people healthy and safe.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that you would think that we would really look at the science, and I'm sorry, you don't have to be a scientist to figure out that when you cover your mask, cover your face, and you breathe in your own carbon dioxide, that you're
that's
not
unhealthy.
It's unhealthy,
Right.
especially for our children, especially for our elderly. Like, I mean, it's just common sense to me, and I'm really confounded and flabbergasted by how many people are walking around believing this. I really am, because
Yeah, me too.
they're smart people, and I don't understand. It's got to be back at this matrix, Cynthia. That whole back to that matrix idea that we're in this altered reality, and we don't see the truth. We think that this AI reality that we're in is the truth, and these boogeymen that pop up out of nowhere really are going to get us, and all of this stuff, and living as if this is the reality. Where in the movie it's clear he's sitting in a chair with these things on, and it's not real reality. It's a made up reality, and that's exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah, I feel like people yeah, I feel like people are in a trance or something. And there is a French psychiatrist or psychologist. I'm trying to remember his name. My daughter sent me some information. He postulates that we are under a psychosis of sorts. And I know that Dr. Robert Malone, who invented the mRNA technology, he talked about it recently on the Joe Rogan program. And it was about how we're following this psychosis called indoctrination or mass psychosis. And it's this idea that if you isolate people, you put them in fear or anxiety, and then you focus them on something, they run towards it. And then they want to find others who are doing the same because they're scared, they're frightened, and they run to this problem at the same time. And then, of course, then you offer, with the Hegelian dialect, you offer the solution, you create the problem, you offer the solution, and you look like a hero, like the big pharma looking like a hero, where they created the problem in the first place, of course, with the creation, I think, of this nasty virus coming out of China. But so it was all created, and that it's predictable what human behavior will do.
And planned. Don't forget that we've seen evidence that it was planned, talked about, actually planned, verbally and in writing years ago.
Right, for decades and decades and decades. I mean, we're talking 50, 60 years even. There was that, I don't know if you saw that clip, Rena. It was a video clip, and it was from 1956.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
And I'm not sure who put that out, if it was, Warner.
And who knows if it's real. I mean, it could have been from a movie or something. But they claimed it was real.
Yeah, well, they talked about all these different things in the future and what life would be like. And then they mentioned in 2020, there would be this virus that would come. I mean, that was from 1956. It's crazy. So, not to go on too long about this, but I think that this year is going to have a lot of shocking information for all of us. And so Rena and I were talking about introducing this idea of the red pill and the blue pill. And we all can only do what we can do, right? We have to work within what we can handle, what we can integrate, what we want to know about. So some of the ways that we were hoping that people can, deal with these revealing of truths, first of all, I'd say be open to new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of seeing the world, new ways of seeing reality that you may have not have ever fathomed before. That's one way.
Right. And in doing that, I think we need to look on the health spectrum, like by looking at new ways, as in maybe my doctor doesn't all know everything. Maybe there really is a money trail. Ask yourself how much money the doctors have gotten paid and the hospitals have gotten paid, not just the school districts, to promote all of this. Like, what is the kickback? Because there's a lot of research in there that there is a very high kickback.
Yeah,
Back when
even as much as
the
sorry.
deaths were happening in the hospital, we learned that it was at $35,000 to $45,000 per death that the
Yes.
hospitals were receiving. So, and then the coroners or the people, the funeral home directors were like, "What's going on? That's not what this person died of." So there was a lot of information coming then. So number one is be open to the idea that maybe your religious beliefs that you've been brought up with, or maybe your political beliefs of what the people in the red do and the people in the blue do, maybe that isn't particularly correct anymore. Maybe the hospitals and the doctors that you believed in, any place where you have given your power away, be open to the fact that they've misused that. And then the second piece would be, I would say, to be really gentle with yourself, because once you find that there's areas where you've been possibly fooled, now you have to be gentle with yourself and not be too hard on yourself, right? When you say,
Yeah, I would say that's a really big one, because I realized I've been duped by a lot of people and a lot of ideas and a lot of things along the way. And I have to put my ego aside and say, it's okay. I fell for that. And that's all I knew at the time. And I did the best I could, but I'm going to forgive myself now. And I think that's another part of this process. As we hear these truths come out, we need to forgive ourselves. Really important. I forgive myself for not knowing. I forgive myself for my limited beliefs. I forgive myself for following this politician or this organization or
right,
this church or whatever it is. I forgive myself for my limited awareness. But this is a year to really grasp the ideas that we're going to expand our consciousness and we're going to zoom ahead. And that's what ascension is all about. It's realizing our limitations and moving forward in a healthy, positive way. Forgive ourselves for the past and not knowing and limited beliefs, and move into an expansion. Don't you think, Rena? That's
absolutely. I know we've heard this 1,000 times, but in my quiet moments this morning, I just was recalled the past is gone.
yeah, it's
And
gone.
I don't have to be a product of my past anymore. The future hasn't been created yet, except in my mind. So what I have is this moment. I have this moment to either choose to be in a loving, kind, forgiving state or not. And to be in another state. Like every single moment, we have a choice. And our channel, we have a YouTube channel, obviously. We have a Telegram channel. We have a Facebook group. And everything that we're promoting is about learning to be in harmony with ourselves and being in that moment and letting go of any of that past baggage that continues to try to carry itself on our back. Just ways to throw it off, right? So that we really can live in the moment and create a beautiful future. Because I believe, as you do, Cynthia, that there is an amazingly beautiful future coming for this world and the galaxy as a whole. Like there's a bunch of wonderful things just on the horizon.
Absolutely. And I think that's what our ascending community of light is all about. We want to help create this community of all of you, and let's move forward. Let's clear the past, let go of it, forgive ourselves, love ourselves, and move forward and be grateful for what we have. and for where we're going. We know that we're going to create a beautiful future with this awareness. With as we expand, we are creating what we want. And like you said, Rena, we don't have to be a victim of our past. We need to let go of that kind of victimhood mentality that doesn't serve us any longer. That
No.
never served anyone, really. We need to move forward and say, I am empowered. I am love in action. And
Mhm.
I am the divinity in action. And I will create the world that I want to have. So
Absolutely.
really, really important. And I think the last thing to say today is, as we discover these truths and as they come out, that listen to your inner voice, listen to, particularly as we begin to move into our fourth chakra and our heart chakra, and learn to work from that place, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, seventh, that we listen to our heart, because our heart does have its own intelligence
Mhm.
and it will guide us. Now, I do believe in a marriage between the mind and the heart, but we can move forward with this heart intelligence. This is our guidance system. So
Yes.
we are to become masters of our own emotions and our own guidance. So listen to what
Breathing.
resonates with you, and let's create a beautiful world together.
Absolutely. I'm with you, sister.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to our video today. And we look forward to having you join us for the next one.
Yes, we do. Bye.
Okay.
Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Wonderful week.